Whoa! J-Stuffer with LEGO Mindstorms EV3. Set number 31313. Contains 601 pieces. Recommended building ages are 10 and up. Well, it appears we have Everstorms. Also looks like we get a wireless remote. Create and command your own robot. This seems fun. USB support. Batteries not included. All sorts of other information. Appears we also get to fire out projectiles. But you get to make all kinds of other builds, such as Tracker, Gripper, Reptar, and Spiker. So this also can be controlled with your mobile device as well. I can't wait to dive into this. Let's have a look at the back. So here are the various other models. The intelligence brick. You do have to go online to get the software and to get the instruction manuals. This can't be controlled with the internet. This looks so much fun. Now, let's open up the box, see what's inside. There is a lot of packing tape around this set. Apparently it's also in a box within a box. So I gotta pull off all the tape just to see what's inside. Alright, we're not done yet, because now I have to cut on the dotted line. This would be better, seeing I am right-handed. Here we go, let's open it up. That was a chore. Whoa, look at this. So the extra box layout is for some kind of a mat. I'm not sure. So we will have to hold on to this. Here's the back of the box. Let's take a look at the other side. It's the same. Alrighty. This box is pretty big. Now let's open up the actual box itself. Appears we get a bag full of cables and another bag full of parts. The bags are not numbered. So here is some of the documentation that does come with the Mindstorms. I'm not sure if this is a printed instruction manual, but it appears we do get stickers. A bag full of various elements. A box. Let's see what's inside this box. Everything is taped down good. That's a good sign. So this is the intelligence brick. It's really nice. Could have been packed with bubble wrap. Something else is in there. So there is some documentation with the intelligence brick. Another bag full of smaller elements. One more bag. Another bag with smaller elements. Appears we get a few motors. Looks like servo motors. Another bag. Another bag with various elements. Gears, cogs, all the friction ties. Another bag. A USB cable, possibly to program the intelligence brick. That appears to be a stepper motor. Not sure. It appears we get another one, so we possibly get two stepper motors. For 601 pieces, that looks like a lot. Various elements and such. So, let's take a look at Everstorm. Presenting Everstorm. It does come with some attachments, such as the tri-blade, blasting bazooka with projectiles, and wheeler. And of course, this is Everstorm. Let's take a closer look. Let's have a look at the tri-blade. Very simple construction. These are painted. This does snap on to Everstorm's arm. Here we have the blasting bazooka. Solid, rigid construction. This end does snap into Everstorm's arm. This element can be removed to insert the projectiles. It does hold a maximum of 3. Now let's take a look at Wheeler. The main body consists of the infrared remote. The remote has 5 buttons with 4 channels for a possible of 20 different combinations. The remote does require 2 AAA cells. Here's the front. We've got some vicious claws attached. Now let's have a closer look at Everstorm. First thing you notice, we do have the intelligence brick. This does require 6 AAA cells. The infrared sensor, we got the colored sensor, and a push button switch. This model does feature 3 servo motors, which gives Everstorm functionality. So there is a servo motor for each leg and one to control the attachments. Let's have a closer look. You can see elements do have a design. These are not printed, they're stickers. Yes, I did put stickers on this model. Here we have a claw of some kind. It is attached with the rubber band. Not sure of its exact function. Nice rigid construction. I like the blades for the Mohawk. Here's the rear. Lots of wires. So I'm surprised there's really no way to clip all this down. They didn't provide a clip with this. It would have been nice. Both the left and right arm do feature a gear. These are used to raise and lower each arm. So clockwise brings the arm down and counterclockwise raises the arm up. Too bad these weren't powered. That would have been really cool. The overall design of Everstorm is really well thought out. It's really strong. Let's see how well Everstorm performs. Driving and turning is the first mission. The objective is for Everstorm to drive about on the floor and make various turns. Let's have a closer look. Here's the intelligent brick, your LCD screen, your directional pad. On the top we have various connections. Here's the mini USB port to program the intelligent brick. Let's activate it. Hold the center button down for a few seconds. It takes a few seconds for it to load up. Okay, we're all booted up. Here's the directional pad. You can search through various tabs and select different items. I want to select Everstorm. And here's the various programs. I'm interested in program 1. Let's set him right there on the floor. And the objective is for him, of course, to drive and turn on the floor. So let's see if this works. That's about it. That's all he does. Really great mission. The missions in Everstorm are broken down into 6 individual missions. Really great idea. So, let's take a stroll to the second mission. Moving on to the second mission, entitled Activate. The objective is to activate Everstorm by pressing the switch. Pressing the switch again will deactivate Everstorm. Let's have a closer look. Here's the switch for activation, and it appears we have a color sensor. There is even an arm attached. So let's activate him.
Activate EV3.
He's awake. Now, let's put him back to sleep. It will not turn off, so you have to press the upper left button to disable the function. Really cool mission. There is a few wires that are loose, so just simply tuck them in the back before starting the mission. Now, let's explore the third mission. The next mission is Stay Out of the Dark. The objective is for Everstorm to drive about on the floor, stay out of the dark, and use its spinning tri-blade for attacks. The switch activates the spinning tri-blade, and the color sensor turns it off. Let's see how well this turns out. That's one cool mission. Just like the previous mission, you do have to press the upper left button to turn off the program. Other than that, really nice mission. It does what it says it does. So, let's head over to the fourth mission. Attack on Sight is the fourth mission. The objective is for Everstorm to attack anything at close range with its infrared sensor with the spinning tri-blade. Let's see how well this mission works. You get the idea. It's a really nice mission. I like the way it flows. This is very sensitive. There's the infrared sensor. Looks like a set of eyes. I like the flow with the elements on top for eyebrows. Now, let's have a look at the fifth mission. For the fifth mission, we have Command and Blast. Let's take a closer look. Here we have the blasting bazooka. This is used to fire off the projectiles. There are 3 projectiles in total. Just simply drop them in. Put the lock on top. The objective is to control Everstorm with the infrared remote and have Everstorm fire out projectiles with the touch switch or the light sensor. So let's have a look. Well, he shot that at my camera. Well, it did go up. Pretty cool mission. I've noticed it does misfire a few times. That's quite alright. There's also something to note about. I had to readjust the sensitivity of the light sensor for standard ambient light. It seems like it works well out of the box with sunlight or really bright light. I have my value on the light sensor set at 10, and it works well with interior lights. Also, one more thing to note. You want to be careful not to point this at someone. It could do a lot of damage. Now, let's take a look at the final mission. Search and destroy is the final mission. The objective is for Everstorm to track down and hunt Wheeler and fire projectiles at Wheeler. Let's have a closer look at Wheeler. It's the infrared remote on some sort of stand. Got some claws on the front. Let's see if this works. I'm going to press the top button. Well, it misfired. I played around with this mission a few times. Never successfully got it to work. I don't know if it's because of the floor I'm on, but it is pretty cool. I did try it out on a few other surfaces and didn't have really much luck with it. So maybe with a few modifications to the program, it may work. Other than that, it's a great mission. There are plenty of spare parts after building Everstorm. There's still a good amount of gears, Technic elements, ties, 3 tires, a couple of rims, plenty of elements to name. You also do have 1 spare cable and 1 USB cord to program the intelligence brick. These parts may be handy to enhance Everstorm or to make other awesome creations. This concludes the review for Everstorm by LEGO Mindstorms EV3, set number 31313, contains 601 pieces. Recommended building ages are 10 and up. This is one fantastic set. There is lots to do. It is highly interactive. I had fun putting it together. It was easy to follow. Lots of extra elements. Let's take a look at some of the cons. First thing is that it will take a lot of battery power. So make sure you have extra cells, or if you possibly get a hold of a battery pack that is rechargeable, that's even better. In addition, the manual for this particular model is only available online or on the EV3 software, available for PC or Mac. I wish the set had at least one manual for this model. It does have a printed manual for another build, which will be in a later review. But all in all, that's the only 2 flaws. Now, if you want to control Everstorm over Wi-Fi, you need to purchase a separate USB Wi-Fi adapter And I haven't tried it with this model, but I'm not sure if there's enough clearance to plug in the adapter on the left-hand side. It would be pretty sweet to control it over Wi-Fi, but you do get a lot of accessories, sensors. You have 3 servo motors and 1 infrared remote. All in all, I think it's a great set for educational use or to create your own ideas. Using the EV3 software is real easy. Programming is a breeze with the drag and drop. So there's very minimum programming. With the software, I think the help section needed to be expanded. Some functions were unclear. So some of the values will have to be played around with to tweak Everstorm the way you like. Now, for the price of $350, that is in US currency, is a bit overpriced for this model, considering it does have 601 pieces. But it is good for educational use. For an everyday LEGO builder, I wouldn't recommend this set, but if you're into Technic or computer science, I highly recommend this set. I do have one more thing to show you. That is, thank you for watching.